You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight is Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Anand Ranganathan, author, scientist, what have you. Also with me, Congress Party leader Kamruzaman Chaudhary, and joining us tonight is also Dr. M.H. Khan, national spokesperson of the BSP. But my first question goes to Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. Sanju Verma, fair and square, 42 trips in 5 years by Yogi Adityanath to Ayodhya, the big Ram temple, and with so many OBC leaders deserting the BJP in the last 3 days, and all sorts of speculations of how many more will leave in the next few days. Is Ram the only Ramban that the BJP has now in the Uttar Pradesh elections?
Navika, first and foremost, I would like to offer condolences to those who lost their lives in the, Bikaner Express tragedy, and we are praying for the recovery of those who are injured. Coming to your question, Navika, what surprises me is the fact that Swami Prasad Maurya leaving BJP has become huge. It's big news being overplayed and overhyped by national media. This is the same Swami Prasad Maurya who failed to get his son, Utkrishт Maurya, elected from the Unchahar constituency in 2012. He failed to get his son elected from the Unchahar constituency in 2017. And this time around, he was fair and square told in no uncertain terms that a ticket for his son is certainly not on the card. So I think it's a case not of star grape, but of rancid grape. बीजेपी में फिलहाल वही लोग कट के निकल रहे हैं जिनको पता है उनकी टिकट कट चुकी है. I also want to say one more thing to you. Let's not be under any doubt that the biggest Maurya leader from the Maurya Samaj today is Deputy Chief Minister, Keshav Prasad Maurya. I also want to ask you one thing, Navika. You understand the process of elections better than I think anyone on this panel. Swami Prasad Maurya छोड़ के गए, बहुत बड़ी बात हो गई. BJP is facing a huge exodus. What about the fact that yesterday Naresh Saini, also an OBC leader from the Congress, has joined the BJP? What about the fact that Mulayam Singh Yadav's own Sambhi, Hariom Yadav, again an OBC leader, decided to join the BJP? What about the fact that former MLA, many times MLA, Dharampal Singh Yadav, again an OBC leader from Samajwadi Party, decided to join the BJP? Why is it that an exodus from BJP makes headline news, but when there is exodus from Samajwadi or BSP, the media के मुंह में दही जम जाता है? I don't know dichotomy and this hypocrisy.
मैडम मेरे मुंह में कोई दही नहीं जमा हुआ. सवाल मैंने इसलिए पूछा. I asked you this question because why is this big news? It is big news because you are the ruling party at the center. You are the ruling party in the state of Uttar Pradesh. It is big news of these people leaving because when they came in, you made it big news by saying that you are doing a caste tie-up and a stitching together a caste alliance that will work through, and that was Chanakya Niti. So that is why it is big news, Sanju Verma. Don't blame us for it. Blame your own past because you said that these people were important and they were coming in. And for 5 years, you never lifted a finger on Mr. Maurya to say कि तुम्हारा बेटा आ गया, अब तुम मंत्री पद अपना खाली करो. The Mantri Pad was khali karoed by him when he sent his resignation.
No. 1 minute. Why are you taking this personally? Times now, so फिर भी ये news, चला रही है that there is an exodus from other parties also. I was talking of national media X now. आपने तो बात अपने ऊपर ले ली.
I'm not taking it personally, ma'am. I'm not taking. When you're talking about media on my channel, I presume it is for us because what you say about others, you can say it on their channels. When you're saying it here, it means it's for me, and therefore I have all the right to respond. I have all the rights to ask questions. I do not hold back my questions to anyone. And I asked them because they need to be asked, and whoever be on the other side, I will ask these questions. I'm not going to shy away from asking questions, Ms. Sanju Verma. But let me get in. Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. Let me get in, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. आपने अयोध्या पे एक लफ्ज नहीं बोला संजू वर्मा जी कि जब सब चले जाते हैं तो राम याद आते हैं. जय श्री राम.
नाविका जी एक मिनट बोलने दीजिए. आई विल नाउ टेल यू वन थिंग. आजकल उत्तर प्रदेश में एक नारा चालू है, जो राम को लेकर आए हैं हम उनको लेकर आएंगे. सिर्फ काशी मथुरा वृंदावन नहीं, पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश में इस बार भगवा लहराएंगे. तो समाजवादी पार्टी कान खोल कर सुन लीजिए भाई, आपके यहाँ पर जो भी हमारे नेता जा रहे हैं ना, उनको टिकट कटने के डर से वो वहां पर गए हैं. आई थिंक फाइनली नाविका, आई यूज अमित शाह फेमस फ्रेज. यू नो, ही सेड दैट द बीजेपी इज गोइंग टू विन दिस इलेक्शन इन उत्तर प्रदेश बेस्ड ऑन 3 V's. V फॉर विकास, V फॉर व्यापार एंड V फॉर विस्तार, सांस्कृतिक विस्तार. Whereas the Samajwadi Party is infamous for 3 P's: पलायन, migration, पक्षपात, nepotism and परिवारवाद, dynasty.
घनश्याम तिवारी जी, एक तो आप रिस्पॉन्ड कर दीजिए संजू वर्मा जी के जो भी आरोप आप पे लगे हैं. मेरा अपना छोटा सा सवाल है. You are getting all these, leaders from BJP, importing them into Samajwadi Party. Is it going to create a bit of a problem? Because we've already seen some leaders of the Samajwadi Party questioning the fact that you brought in Swami Prasad Maurya, जो हर चुनाव से पहले दल बदलते हैं, और जो रहते हैं समाजवादी पार्टी में अंदर में वो नाराज नजर आ रहे हैं आपसे. How are you going to balance the newcomers versus the aspirations of the old people who have been with you?
Good evening, Navika ji, to you, the viewers, and my fellow co-panelists. I would start by expressing my deep concern and anguish over the lives lost in the train accident, as well as my prayers for quick recovery for those who are injured. As far as what Sanju Verma ji said, and to your question, first to Sanju Verma ji's point. If you look at basic data, ADR report 2016 to 2020, BJP and its mercenary operation were fueled by money, and CBI, ED, IT power is visible. Their ability to muzzle democracy is visible. When you look at the data, 182 MLAs from different parties joined BJP in these 5 years. In contrast, just 18 MLAs left BJP to join other parties. If you look at what has happened in Uttar Pradesh in just 1 week, 14 MLAs have left Bharatiya Janata Party. That includes 3 cabinet ministers. So the exodus is not powered by the audio tapes that BJP so easily forgets. There were 5 crore, 10 crore were being offered to MLAs to switch, and elected governments were fractured. This exodus is powered by the fact that BJP is a party dominated by Thakurwad. If you look at the data, again on Bharatiya Janata Party MLAs, would you know that nearly 50% of all MLAs of Bharatiya Janata Party come from upper caste? Nearly 23% of their MLAs come from OBCs. They say they want to have a perception that OBCs form the strength of Bharatiya Janata Party. The same is true for their members of parliament as well. You cannot fool all the people all the time, and that is beginning to come out in Uttar Pradesh. People were waiting for model of code of conduct to come, so that the BJP's ability to use police, use other methods of terrorizing leaders will not be so easily available to them. That said, even within Swami Prasad Maurya ji leaving the party and resigning, in 24 hours there was a notice, a warrant issued against him. So everybody knows BJP's tactics, but this time people are absolutely confident that whether they have Yati Narsinghanand contest from Ayodhya or Yogi Adityanath contest from Ayodhya, it does not matter. This is not an election of hate. This is an election of hope. It's an election for Bunyadi issues, jobs, price rise, injustice to farmers, communal harmony in the state, everyday progress.
This is not an election of hate, this is an election of poaching. So, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, what do you have to say? Election of hope or poaching? What is this election going to be all about?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. No, I think it is, to be honest, before I come back to the thrust of the debate tonight, which is Yogi Adityanath and Ayodhya, To answer your question first, it is an election that is going to decide based on development that has happened in the last 5 years. Let's be very honest, things have changed from the years and days of 1990s when people could be swayed by religion alone. I'm not saying that it does not play an important factor, but the fact of the matter now is that people are very informed voters. They demand development, and if they're not given development, then they simply don't vote for that party, and BJP would bear the brunt if it has not developed Uttar Pradesh. But by all parameters, most parameters I can say, there has been improvement in the last 5 years, but that is not the thrust of the debate tonight. Tonight was, as you said, Navika, you asked, what is this symbolism of Yogi possibly contesting from Ayodhya? And I have to say this, that his decision, of course, it has to be finalized by BJP, but as you're saying, 95% sure. The symbolism, you are right, it cannot be missed. And it is the same reason why Modi decided to contest from Kashi in 2014. Navika, here is the report. Let me show you the report from March 17th, 2014. And it says, and I'm quoting, Modi chose Varanasi as he is wary of losing in Vadodara. One can only laugh at such predictions now, given what happened at Varanasi in 2014. In fact, according to our mutual friend Ashutosh, Arvind Kejriwal, who abandoned Delhi incidentally to contest against Modi from Varanasi, literally cried. So the choice for Modi was more symbolic and cultural rather than political. And it is the same for Yogi Adityanath, or maybe not. Remember, Modi declared in 2014, I quote him, I have come from the land of Somnath to seek blessings in the land of Vishwanath. I suppose Yogi is going from the land of Gorakhnath to seek blessings in the land of Ramlalla. But there is a difference, albeit slight, just give me a minute, it's important, Navika. While Modi had never visited Varanasi with political ambitions in mind or done anything for the city prior to 2014, Yogi has worked wonders in Ayodhya. He has been personally involved in a slew of projects to herald a new birth of Ayodhya, as he says, to make it an incredible destination both for domestic as well as international travelers. In fact, there are some 79 massive development projects currently ongoing and being monitored by Yogi himself. These include the Maryada Purushottam Ram International Airport, the 84 Kosi Parikrama Marg, a totally revamped railway station, a 1200-acre Vedic township, Ramayan spiritual forest on the banks of Sarayu. We've already seen how Diwali is being celebrated in Ayodhya since 2017. And lastly, the Bhavya Ram Mandir, the construction of which is being closely monitored by Yogi himself. And so, this is a constituency for which Yogi has been working really hard to nurture. And therefore, it is not merely symbolic, but also a political win-win strategy.
I also want, before I go to Mr. M.H. Khan, I want to announce the list that's coming in from the BJP. Pankaj Singh from Noida, Yogendra Upadhyay from Agra, Tejpal Nagar from Dadri, Dhirendra Singh from Jewar, Atroli Sandeep Singh, Mathura Shrikant Sharma, sitting MLA and Minister, Sardhana, Sangeet Som, Agra, GS Dharmesh Chhata, Lakshmi Narayan, Meerut City, Sunil Barala, Saibabad, Sunil Sharma, Meerut South, Somender Tomar, Ghaziabad, Atul Garg, Thana Bhavan, Suresh Rana, and Meerut Chavni, वर्तमान विधायक के कोई रिश्तेदार है. This is what we are getting as of now in terms of the people who have been announced. So the first lists have begun to come out, and M.H. Khan साहब, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, एक तरफ राजनीति हो रही है अयोध्या की, राम की, दूसरी तरफ राजनीति हो रही है समाजवादी पार्टी में अब ओबीसी कैंडिडेट्स को लेने की, ताकि यादव के साथ नॉन यादव ओबीसीज भी साथ में मिला लिए जाए. तो क्या ये चुनाव हिंदू कार्ड पर होगा, ओबीसी कार्ड पर होगा, और वो जो 80-20 का है, तो वो 20 का क्या होगा, इसके बारे में कोई चर्चा नहीं है, ना समाजवादी पार्टी में, ना किसी और पार्टी में.
नहीं, हमारी पार्टी का तो नारा ही है, सर्वजन हिताय सर्वजन सुखाय, सबको साथ लेकर चलने की हमारी पार्टी का संविधान ही कहता है. अब सवाल इस बात का है कि जो आदमी संविधान की कसम खा लेता है, मुख्यमंत्री पद की बैठ जाता है, वो 80-20 करता है, 80-20 करता है, ये संविधान के खिलाफ है. ये संविधान की धज्जियां उड़ाने वाली बात कि आप जब मुख्यमंत्री बन गए तो तो आप सबके मुख्यमंत्री बन गए। 80% के नहीं, 100% के मुख्यमंत्री बने आप 20%, 80% नहीं कर सकते। और देखिए योगी आदित्यनाथ जी, योगी अपने नाम के आगे लगाते हैं और कितना झूठ बोलते हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश से अयोध्या में राम मंदिर बन रहा है। वो कह रहे हैं कि राम मंदिर बन रहा है कि नहीं बन रहा है, हमने बनवाया कि नहीं बनवाया, प्रधानमंत्री जी बनवाया कि नहीं बनवाया। अरे भाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश से बन रहा है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जो है 5 जजों में एक मुसलमान जज भी थे और पूरे हिंदुस्तान के लोगों ने, हिंदू मुसलमान सबने स्वागत किया उसका। आप कहां से बनवा रहे हो? सरकार कहां बनवा रही है? उन्होंने कहा ट्रस्ट बनवाएगा। अब ट्रस्ट में अपने आदमी आप रखना चाहते हो, रख लिया आपने। भूमि घोटाला किया आपने राम मंदिर के नाम पर। अगर आप अयोध्या से लड़ना चाहते हो तो लड़ो, कोई इसमें दो राय नहीं है कि आपने कोई कहीं से लड़ सकता है। लेकिन आप 5 बार के एमपी हैं गोरखपुर से, गोरखपुर में काम कुछ किया नहीं आपने। गोरखपुर से क्यों लड़ लेते हैं आप? वो नाथ संप्रदाय का एक हेडक्वार्टर है गोरखपुर, और वहां पर आपने एक व्यापारी को मार के तोड़ के खत्म कर दिया। काम तो कुछ किया नहीं।
Hands are going up on the debate. Sanju Verma to you first. Sanju Verma to you first.
अरे पूरी बात हो जाने दीजिए मैडम, पूरी बात हो जाने दीजिए। अब जब देखिए महंगाई पे कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाए, किसानों को 6 से 700 शहादत हो गई, किसानों पर थार जीप चढ़ा के मारा गया। आपके हाथरस कांड में लड़की के साथ रेप हुआ, उसके बाद कहा गया रेप नहीं हुआ। एडीजी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर ने कहा रेप नहीं हुआ, और रिपोर्ट आई तो रेप साबित हो गया। एडीजी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को नहीं हटाया गया। ये सब चीज क्या है आखिर? आप जो लोगों का दिमाग भटकाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, महंगाई पे चर्चा नहीं करना चाहते हैं, पेट्रोल डीजल पे बात नहीं करना चाहते हैं, आप कानून व्यवस्था पर बात करना नहीं चाहते हैं।
महंगाई पर चर्चा तो करिए, महंगाई पर चर्चा तो करिए खान साहब, चर्चा तो करिए। रैली का समय है, आप महंगाई पर चर्चा करिए। चर्चा तो हो रही है ओबीसीज पर, कितने मंत्रियों ने बीजेपी को छोड़ दिया। संजू वर्मा जवाब दे रही हैं आपका। संजू वर्मा जी
देखिए बात
नाविका हिंदी में कहावत है, क्योंकि इन्होंने हिंदी में बात कही।
बात तो पूरी हो जाए।
और ये जो बीएसपी के यहाँ
जवाब देने के लिए तो ये एक गांव देहात में करना जबरदस्ती जो भी बोलना चाहे बोलना। लेकिन क्या महंगाई कम हो गया? क्या पेट्रोल का दाम कम हो गया? क्या डीजल का दाम कम हो गया? क्या रेप यहाँ बंद हो गया? क्या
अपर कास्ट ब्राह्मणों के लिए आपकी मायावती ने ये स्लोगन, ये नारा लगाया,
आपके पार्टी के लोगों ने नारा लगाया था। ये हमारी पार्टी का नारा नहीं है। हमारी पार्टी का नारा संजयता संतोष सुखा है, ये आपके वर्कर्स ने लगाया था। और चैनल पर, नेशनल चैनल पर बैठ के झूठ मत बोलिए। नेशनल चैनल पर बैठ के झूठ मत बोलिए। अपने आप को बचाने की कोशिश मत करिए। आप लोगों का चरित्र ही यही है, हिंदू मुसलमान करो, राम भगवान अल्लाह करो। कोई जिन्ना ले आता है तो कोई आप कहता बजरंग बली हमारे, अली तुम्हारे। ये कौन करता है? ये सब मंदानी पद में बैठा हुआ व्यक्ति जो कर रहा है। आप इस चीज को छोड़कर किसानों के बदहाली में बात नहीं करते, महंगाई में बात नहीं करते, नौजवानों को लाठियों से पीटा जा रहा है, किसानों को रोका जा रहा है। कहाँ आपका नहीं बात? आप लास्ट में
संजू जी, और आप दोनों बोलेंगे तो दर्शक कैसे सुनेंगे? आप दोनों बोलेंगे तो दर्शक कैसे सुनेंगे? थोड़ी तो इनायत कर दीजिए दर्शकों पर। उनके पास 2 कान जरूर है, पर इंसान एक ही को सुन सकते हैं, एक ही इंसान को सुन सकते हैं। Kamruzaman Chaudhary, I want to ask you.
Navika, just 10 seconds.
I want to ask you, you may give 50% seats to women in Uttar Pradesh. You may continue to criticize the BJP. Will you give 50% seats to candidates in Punjab? Because there you might actually be in a position to make a government. In Uttar Pradesh, you are nowhere close to making a government. So why make such promises of empowering women in states where you have no future, and not making these promises in states where you have a future?
Navika, I believe you are not the person who is to decide whether Congress party has a future in Uttar Pradesh or not. That is our strategy. When Raja Ram Mohan Roy started the revolution of what is called the societal revolution, it did not come in one day. It came over a period of time. Priyanka Gandhi has started a revolution.
All right. Oh yes, I didn't account for the revolution that you are bringing in. I'm sorry.
This is not fair. You have permitted others to speak uninterrupted. Let me just finish my point. to point out here is that the first...
No, I'm apologizing to you because I didn't see the revolution coming.
It will come. It will come. It doesn't come in a day. Let it take time. Now the point here that it was the Congress party which proposed 1/3 reservation in local body elections for the women, resulting people like lots of women candidates coming all across India as panchayat members, as Zilla Parishad members, as councillors. They have got a say in the electoral system of our country, in the governance of our country. And it was because of the thought process of the Congress party that Priyanka Gandhi is taking this forward to the next level. She has
Priyanka Gandhi is
40%
all right, very impressed, but I want to ask you, is Yogi Adityanath fighting from Ayodhya something that you like? Because you are also a Hindu party, aren't you?
We are not a Hindu
Shiv
party.
Bhakton ki party hai na aapki?
Party. Navika, the last 30 minutes that we have been discussing on your panel, what did we find out as a sum total? We have found out 80-20 politics, that is the othering politics. Second, we have found out the OBC politics being discussed out here. This is the case sadly with Uttar Pradesh. Nobody is speaking about those bodies floating in the Ganga. Nobody is speaking about the people who have been lathi charged outside Yogi Adityanath's house. Nobody is speaking about them. But you just...
Did Priyanka Gandhi visit Hanuman?
No. If
farmers were lathi charged, did Priyanka Vadra visit Chhattisgarh? Where Adivasi farmers were gunned down? Did Bhupesh Badel offer apology to the Adivasi farmers who were gunned down by state police in Chhattisgarh?
When development
Priyanka Vadra had no time to visit
Janata Party 10 days ago. Now what prompted the Bharatiya Janata Party
on propriety to the BJP? Shame on you.
80-20 politics, bring in the Ram Lalla politics into the Uttar Pradesh elections. What was the reason of the change in strategy? If Yogi Adityanath was so confident in taking...
Did Priyanka Gandhi...
Then he should have done a Mamata Banerjee in Uttar Pradesh. Contested against
grounds is Priyanka Gandhi saying
that would have been a...
On what grounds is she saying that she stands for
the anti-independency...
Why doesn't Priyanka Gandhi Vadra fight against Yogi Adityanath in Ayodhya? Mamata Banerjee, Shuvendu Adhikari fought against Mamata Banerjee and even won the seat. Why doesn't Priyanka do that to Yogi? She's most welcome to.
When the time comes, let the party decide the strategy. But going to Ayodhya...
No, Navika, I need to come in.
I am for the people of...
So, Doctor, I'm coming to you, Sanju Verma. I'm coming to you. Dr. Anand Ranganathan was raising his hand. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, maybe I'm not understanding because Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary has banned me from trying to see into what's going to happen and where Congress is forming the government. So, I can't look into that crystal ball. Why don't you look into the crystal ball? And from what you've heard from Mr. Chaudhary, what do you make of their strategy in Uttar Pradesh?
No, very briefly, 2 points. One on Mr. Chaudhary. I think you completely trapped him and he's ambushed with nowhere to go because you asked him, if Congress is giving so much, empowering women so much in UP, why is it not doing the same in Punjab? Or in fact, why is it not done the same in Rajasthan or Chhattisgarh? And Mr. Chaudhary, to all... for all intent and purposes is a party spokesperson, so he cannot tell you the truth. But can I please now, ask Mr. Khan a question, because he's the BSP spokesperson, and he said that Constitution की धज्जियां उड़ा रहे हैं योगी जी. तो मैं इनसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि 2019 के लोकसभा चुनाव में मेरठ से BSP के कैंडिडेट थे हाजी कुरैशी. उन्होंने कहा था कि मैं 51 करोड़ इनाम दूंगा जो कि चार्ली हेब्डो जर्नलिस्ट को बेहेड करेगा. क्या ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की धज्जियां उड़ाना नहीं था खान साहब? हाँ या ना में जवाब दीजिए प्लीज.
बिल्कुल था, लेकिन आप क्या उड़ाएंगे? क्या आप उड़ाएंगे धज्जियां? योगी होकर के झूठ बोलेंगे?
माफी मांगी इसकी?
आप पार्लियामेंट से
आपने किससे 51 करोड़?
अच्छा, तो कुरैशी साहब को अलाउड है, योगी जी को अलाउड नहीं है.
राम मंदिर आप बनवा रहे हैं क्या? राम मंदिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का
नाविका,
आप नेशनल चैनल बैठकर झूठ बोल रहे हैं.
खान साहब ट्रिगर्ड हो गए हैं.
योगी होकर झूठ बोल रहे हैं. योगी झूठ बोलता है नहीं, योगी तो सच बोलता है. आप योगी कह रहे हैं कि राम मंदिर बनता है कि नहीं? राम मंदिर बनाया नहीं, आपने बनाया क्या?
आप
आपकी हेल्थ के लिए ठीक नहीं है खान साहब, मैंने आपसे एकदम
घनश्याम तिवारी wants to come in. घनश्याम तिवारी जी, घनश्याम तिवारी
वही
जी,
बात कर रहे हैं आप
घनश्याम तिवारी जी.
धज्जियां उड़ा रहे हैं, संविधान की धज्जियां उड़ा रहे हैं, आप हिंदू मुसलमान कर रहे हैं, मुंह से मुसलमान नाम नहीं निकलता है आपके, सबका साथ सबका विकास निकलता है, लेकिन सब समाज का नाम नहीं निकलता है। आपने
खान साहब घनश्याम तिवारी जी कुछ बोल रहे हैं, आपके लिए बोल रहे हैं, जरा सुन लीजिए एक बार.
आप योगी हैं, आप ठोक दो, ये शब्द बोलता है योगी, कोई शब्द ये बोलता है
जी घनश्याम तिवारी जी.
ठोकने वाला शब्द क्या होता है? योगी
I'll have to lower their faders because Ghanshyam Tiwari is not being able to make his point. 1 minute, lowering everybody's faders. Ghanshyam Tiwari ji.
Nagaji, I want to make a very brief point. The 80-20 speech by Adityanath is a hate speech. And this is a time when model code of conduct is in practice. The election commission should look at that. There are very easy, simple social media listening tools. One can see that how that speech triggered hate messages on YouTube, on Facebook. A basic analysis of these tools will say it is a hate speech, and any media platform that amplifies that and uses that as a political debate is amplifying his hate message. The man has two, as per his own affidavit, two charges of insulting or defiling religious places, two charges.
Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, on several debates, your own party has referred to the 80-20 matter. So they should also face the rap by the election commission. Be my guest. Be my guest. Report it, and I will send statements made by your own party.
Please do. But
okay, so your party also uses it in debates. Your party uses them on debates. Anand Ranganathan, this is hypocrisy now. This is hypocrisy. MY is not hate speech. 80-20 is hate speech.
Adityanath is a hate speech.
No, this is why. No.
You covered politics for long. You know that it is a hate speech.
It is my turn.
There is no way.
It is my turn.
If Anand says it is not a hate speech, I will definitely question the way he thinks about hate speech. Here is a man who has a track record of hate speech.
All right. Anand Ranganathan, and then I'm coming to you, Sanju. Anand Ranganathan.
Yes. Ghanshyam, very quickly, two very simple questions for you. Number one, when you say it is hate speech, can you please tell me which community is being targeted in that speech? Is it the Hindu community or is it the Muslim community? Simple question. And number two, Mr. Maurya, who till yesterday on 24th March after his speech, Samajwadi Party declared him to be a quote-unquote communal bigot. Simple question to you. Is Mr. Maurya still a communal bigot? Yes or no?
Commission should get up and recognize that as a hate speech. You can justify 80-20. When was the elected Chief Minister talking about 80 versus 20? Please don't interrupt.
Which community?
What would happen if the Chief Minister continues to say 80 versus 20?
80-20 does not refer to any community. It has been used by your spokespersons in several debates. Sanju Verma.
You are rationalizing a man known for hate.
I don't understand what is why am I being heckled?
Further propagate
What kind of a debate is this?
जब ओवैसी साहब ने कहा 19-20% वालों का मुख्यमंत्री होना चाहिए, तब तो आपने कंप्लेंट नहीं किया. योगी आदित्यनाथ बोलेंगे तो आपको लगता है हेट स्पीच. संजू वर्मा, respond to Ghanshyam Tiwari.
Okay, Ghanshyam Tiwari, I heard you very patiently. I will make very quick, brief points. Point number one. The Samajwadi Party senior leader and MP from Sambhal, Shafiqur Rahman Bark, said Talibanis are martyrs. Should we book him for sedition? And he said that all Indian martyrs are no less than Talibani. Basically, Bhagat Singh और Talibanis को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर लाकर खड़ा कर दिया. Point number two, Samajwadi Party Lok Sabha MP from Moradabad, S.C. Hassan, he said that उप मुख्यमंत्री और मुख्यमंत्री मुसलमान होना चाहिए. तब आपको ये कम्युनल स्टेटमेंट नहीं लगा. And let me now tell you what your Akhilesh Yadav said, which is more shameful. Few weeks back he said of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, अच्छा है जो काशी पर आते हैं बार बार. अंतिम समय में लोगों को यही रहना चाहिए, काशी में ही अभी उनको रहना चाहिए. Bringing this affection.
That was a love and sadbhavna speech. That was a love and sadbhavna speech, but 80-20 is a hate speech. Well, the atmosphere in this chilly cold is becoming extremely heated in Uttar Pradesh. Yogi Adityanath slated to fight from Ayodhya. OBC leaders being taken away by Akhilesh Yadav. Well, it's all happening. It's a pot that's boiling in Uttar Pradesh. Elections just about under 4 weeks from now, the first phase. And as you say, always, कि अभी तो कई पत्ते खुलने बाकी हैं. रोज एक नया पत्ता निकलता है इस चुनाव में. क्या होगा, कल क्या होगा और इसका असर क्या होगा? What will be the impact? We'll bring that to you right here on the News Hour. We'll decode UP elections for you, even as it is now Akhilesh versus Yogi Adityanath. Hindu card and development on the one side, caste alliances on the other. Who's going to get to the finishing line first? Our eyes will be on that, and that's why we keep reminding you, March 10th with Times Now is your date, because we'll get it right and we'll get it before anyone else does, with the top newsmakers as well as the top stories. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1. Debate number 2, and the awful rape crime in Rajasthan. Why is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra so silent? That's the debate on the other side.
The News Hour at 9 will be right back after the break.